again, YouTube. Sorry it's been a bit of a delay since the last video. Life has been busy. I have had lots to be doing outside of work, inside of work, so my garage time has been limited. So on this video, I did hope to get more done with this video, but in the desire to get a video out, I've limited this video just to fitting the sump to the engine block. So if you remember a little while ago, we built our own sump to convert the Zetec engine to rear-wheel drive to suit this 170 engine. And today we're going to show you how to fit a sump to engine block using just RTV sealant, which is what's in this tube here. So instant gasket, it says on there, because it's a proper RTV oil resistant silicone sealant just for this job. So we've a big thank you to everybody who subscribed. We've hit 7,000 subscribers in quite a short time, to be fair, so well impressed with that, well chuffed with that. And again, as always, humbled by your responses, your comments, people saying how much you enjoy the channel, and it's motivated some to get on with their own projects. That really does touch my heart. It really does humble me. So thank you very much for that, and let's hope this does continue. So keep watching, you see what we do with to get this. So the whole idea of this, of course, is to start prepping this for fitting, mocking up to go into the Escort, so we know what we're going to be doing for making engine mounts and setting the gearbox in place and all that malarkey that goes along with fitting an engine into an engine bay that doesn't belong to it. And so hopefully you'll find that interesting. I'm going to try and do as much as I can by fabrication rather than buying. Because everything to make a Zetec fit an Escort is available with companies like Retro Ford, and their products are very good by all accounts, but they're quite pricey, and understandably so, because they're quite labour intensive to make them. But if we can make our own, which I have done in the past, and if I can help you guys doing the Zetec conversions to make your own engine mounts and the such like, then happy days. In preparation for getting that lump into that hole, we need to fit that sump that we made earlier. So I'm probably doing this in the sketchiest way possible. I'm just going to do it off the engine crane rather than mess around with setting up an engine stand. I have worked like this before. I do trust this crane, and if it's going to go, it'll give me plenty of notice. So I'm just going to undo all our bolts underneath here to get this old sump off. Crack this sump off, give it a really good clean with some brake cleaner, and the same with that sump all around the edges. Good clean with brake sealer, and then some RTV sealant to get the new sump in place. So that's our challenge for today. You'll see I've stripped it of its ancillaries. Didn't bother filming that, not very exciting thing to see. So it's a bare engine. As for how grubby it looks, I'm not worried about that at this stage. This is just for mocking up as much as anything, although the sump going on hopefully will be on and done for good. The rest of it I can wire brush and give it a lick of paint just to smarten it up. Gloves on, because the engine oil is not very good for you, especially old used engine oil. I'll try to remember to put gloves on if I can. Just remembering is half the battle. Right, there we go. So 8mm socket, and we'll start cracking these off now. Hopefully we can just use our impact wrench to get these off. Battery's a bit low on it, so I might have a challenge on my hands. There we go. Super. Right, we try that again, because it's not that bit I want to take off, it's the whole bit from there down. So let's try it again. So 10mm socket, and right, I think that's all the ones we need. Let's get a wedge in there and see if we can prise it apart. now it would appear oil pickup pipe has to come with it, which is irritating to say the least. Let's work on wangle it. Okay, it appears that this does have to come off first, so we'll stick a couple of bolts back in just to hold this in place while we do that, so we can get to the bolts that hold the oil pickup pipe in place, because this ain't going anywhere with the oil pickup in place, so we've got to take that off before we take the sump off. I think this is empty of oil. I think it's all leaked out. Guess we're about to find out. Nope, answer that is no, it's not. There wasn't much in there, but enough to be a nuisance. Should have checked that first. Where's the fun in that? Okie doke. Now we can get that little spine out. Super. Lovely. Right, now we can get the rest of the sump off. Just like so. And what I think I'd be inclined to do now is leave this hang for a while, just let the worst of the oil drip off before I start worrying about cleaning it up. Because I have learned the hard way. I learned this on the pop, as if this isn't perfectly clean and dry and grease free, the silicone won't stick to it and the sump will leak through those areas. So these areas have to be absolutely spotless. So more time taken over cleaning this up than anything else is what's important here. Might go for a dry fit though, just to see if I need to take that adapter plate off first. So let's see where we are with that. I think we're okay. Huh. As it happens, we have an issue, an unforeseen one. Just in there, the edge of the sump is catching on the crank. Not the crank, the flywheel rather. So I need to clean the end of that off before we go any further. And the same issue on this side, potentially. Okay, that's not the end of the world. We can round the corners of that off to miss that. Right, you'll see hopefully why I'm such a fan of these engines. Look at those connecting rods in there. They are beautifully wasted, beautifully designed, and super strong. Get the thing to focus. And it's just a monster of an engine. Its bottom end is fantastic, and for what you pay for these engines, I think they're starting to creep up in value now. I think you'll pay about £300 or £400 for a bare engine, but it's still worth every penny because it'll cost you a lot more than that money to build a normal Zetec or even a Pinto up to this sort of spec. Right, okay, so this is where we're at with the ST170 engine. I've left it standing with the sump off for a few hours just to let the worst of the oil drip down. And now what we're going to do is clean up these mating faces so they're absolutely spotless and oil free. Same with the sump to go in. Although they look clean, there'll be enough grease on them to cause us problems. The advantage of doing this upside down like this is spray is dripping off rather than spraying and disappearing into the block. Well, of course, when I first set this engine to go, I'll be changing the oil pretty rapidly after the first sort of running in session, if you like. Not that it needs running in as such, but so stuff like this doesn't stay in there. You'll be able to run this across and be clean, which isn't happening yet. Yeah, how's that? Like that. Nice and clean. Lovely. Right, the same treatment for this. I'm going to do this, don't want to spray this straight into there. I'll spray it onto this, then wipe it down. Just remember now, we've got to take these corners off here, me. Let's do that first before I forget. Let's see if I can snip those off rather than get the grind on there, because I don't want to go chucking a load of grinder dust into this. Don't see why not. Right, let's give that a clean up and see how it fits after that. See how much is coming off of that already, and that's already looked clean. Right, that's all nice and clean. Right then, so we need a gasket for this, oil pickup pipe. So use some flexoid gasket paper. That's this stuff, you can buy it off eBay, it's cheap enough. Comes in all sorts of thicknesses. This is, I think, a 1mm thick, so it's probably a bit thicker than we need it, but it'll do. So simply use a ball peen hammer, such as this. You can make your gasket. So tap away gently. Like so. Get that flaming over there, handy. There you go, lovely. Use a bolt to hold that in there while we pop out the other side. Now, there is a very old school method of just using cornflakes boxes. But I don't think I'll trust that for something which is going to be out of sight and as crucial as an oil pickup pipe. Lovely. Okay, so just need to keep these together now, like so, then draw around that and cut it out. And simply cut it out. Perfect little gasket. Now that we have our gasket made, we can fit our pickup pipe. Lovely. Right, one last go around with the cleaner, just to be absolutely sure. Right, instant gasket, RTV sealant, whatever you want to call it. Squeeze a bit out first to make sure there's no goop in the end. And away to go.
I've learned not to be too shy with this stuff, and you can get a bit paranoid about it squeezing in and falling in all sorts, but it doesn't actually do that. Not in my experience anyway, and I've done this a few times now. When I changed the sump on my daughter's Fiat 500, this was exactly the process. I'm doing that. So as long as you don't go mad and have a massive bead, you'll be alright. Right, and this is probably the most difficult bit, is getting it in place without touching it on oily bits and getting silicone everywhere, at the same time not getting in the way of the camera. Ooh, that looks promising. Right, that's it all on and tightened up. So you get an idea now of how much that has squished through. But it's not like it's squishing through and falling off and it's going to be a problem. Same with the other side. That looks like a nice amount to be squished through. Now I could get all excited and clean all that off, but I'm not too worried about it. I will leave it as it is. And the understanding that if it's there, it's doing a job. Maybe once it's set, I could get a blade and go across there and clean it up then. See how I feel. Okay, to make sure we're not fouling anything on the corners, so our bumps on the side of the sump there, they're there for a reason, because as the rods come round on the Zetec, on the ST170, they're much fatter conrod than they are on the normal Zetec, because they're chunkier, better quality engine. So to make sure we're not catching on the sump, we will turn it over. And that's all good. So happy days, we're clearing everything nicely. Right, there we have it. So hopefully that was useful to you. Got the sump fitted onto the engine now. So that's all on and hopefully secure. We're as you saw in the video, very careful about cleaning all the surfaces up, making surfaces up so they're bone dry, grease free, so the silicone will make a good contact with them. Of course, there is an ongoing concern of that. If you need to take the sump off in the future, will it be glued on too tightly? Well, in my experience, no. They will come off with a little bit of encouragement, and sometimes just getting a nice thin blade in between to start easing it off. But they do come off, so don't worry. If you need to get the sump off, it will come off without having to bend it all up and make it out of shape. So thanks for watching. Thanks again for everyone who subscribes. Please do subscribe if you're not already a subscriber but enjoy the channel, and like and share and thumbs up and all that sort of thing, and comment as well. Let us know what you think, and if you see what I'm doing and think there's a better way of doing it, let me know, and we'll try different ways of doing the same things. Right, thanks again, see you on the next one.